So by the end of this video, you are going to have a draft of everything you want to include in your personal statement, as well as the structure that you need in order to do it. So let's get into it. So for this week's video, I'm going to be telling you how to write the best personal statement. And this is the exact method I used that got me accepted into all but one of my universities. Before we even start, I think the overall picture that you should have when it comes to looking at your personal statement was looking at why me, why you, why us. Then I'm going to explain the second most important thing that I think you need to have in your personal statement is a good overall structure. And I'll also try to include some examples of my personal statement to just give you an example of what we're talking about. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing we are looking to do when we're writing our personal statement is brainstorm. So you can do this on anything. Get a piece of paper out, get your laptop out, open a Word document. Firstly, start off with brainstorming. Me personally, I work really well with mind maps, so that's why I'm going to do a mind map, which you'll see on the screen here. So I firstly started off with writing law. So put in the subject in the middle of what you're looking to study at university, and then put some questions outside it or below it or in your document. Why do you want to study that subject? What has interested you in studying that subject? And what exactly do you find interesting about it? When it came to me, why do I want to study law? So I think what initially drew me to studying law was the work experience I had, and that was my first insight into the world of law and just how important it is in everyday society. So that's what I got and mentioned within my personal statement. And if you see on the screen here, I believe I mentioned like the interrelation between law and society is fascinating. I don't know it, I don't have it right here, but you'll see it on the screen. And that was my first paragraph in terms of why I chose to study law and what initially drew me into it, as well as live and current events that I thought, yeah, this is fascinating to me. When it comes to what interested you in studying law, it could have been a book, it could have been reading an essay, it could have been studying it at school, it could have been so many different things. Write down what exactly interested you in studying or this subject that you want to do at university. And last but not least, what exactly did you find interesting about it? So is it a particular area? Is it a niche? So with me, which I'm quite surprised about, when I started like knowing I wanted to study law, I was quite interested in criminal law, but that's mostly because like I enjoy watching like thriller and crime documentaries. But at the time, yeah, like crime was what I was interested in, but I was also interested in human rights and humanitarian rights. And so that and its interrelation with the law was another particular niche which I was like, I can speak about this and this is what I'm interested in. So find a niche, a specific area that you're like, yeah, this is what you're really thrilled about. So it could be an EPQ that you did, it could be a lesson you had, it could be a lecture you attended. Look and find out what it is and have that there, so then you can flow and develop off of that. So without sounding too cliche, when it comes to brainstorming, you'll need to look at creating a storyline. So creating what first interested you and what moment you decided, yeah, this is what I want to pursue my career in, this is what I want to study at university, this is what I want to study at university. And don't make it sound cliche, like don't be like, oh, from when I was 6 I knew it was for me. No, just be honest, but be original. Basically, your universities are reading so many personal statements, so create a storyline from the beginning to the end of your personal statement in any way possible, but do it in a way that is original. Outside of your mind map, you're then going to write things you've done to demonstrate this. So could be work experience, a book you've read, lecture you've attended, something you learned in class. Just write down all the examples that you have in relation to the course you're looking to study that exemplifies that this is why I want to study what I want to study, this is why I'm interested in law, for example, this is why I'm interested in medicine, and this is what I've done to show it. And moving on to what I just said about this is what you've done to show it, the next thing you're going to talk about are things that you have done to show or that this is the subject for you. So what I want you to do though with these examples is not only say that you did it, but you need to say what you learned from it. So you need to state what inspired you to do it, also what you took from it, what it inspired you to do further. So if you attended a lecture, you could say it inspired you to delve into this topic better, write essays on it, find out more, do more research on it. You also need to highlight what you gained from this experience, and then also try and identify with any experience that you put what thing within that experience made you think, yeah, this is what I want to go on to study at university. By that way, it's showing that you thought and have thought this process through. You know what exactly you wanted to do from this. So one thing I will always say, don't just state what you did, but highlight what you took from it. So I know another section of my personal statement, I mentioned that I read this book where it was called, I think it was East Green Street or The Secret Barrister, and I highlighted what I learned from it, as you can see on the screen here. Always make sure that you're identifying and stating what exactly you learned from it, as opposed to just stating I read this or I did this. You need to go further in depth into it. So the next thing that I would recommend when it comes to writing your personal statement is show how the skills that you have or the things that you've done correlate well with what you want to study at university. So for me, I think I spoke about how I was part of debate society or I played hockey, and then I highlighted that when it comes to being a lawyer and studying law, like working with people constantly, but also correlating and putting arguments together to show how your experiences match up with why you can do this at university and why you're the person that they should choose to study this course at their university, because you already have the skills that they require. You're just looking to develop that further, and make sure you highlight that in your personal statement, because it makes you the ideal candidate, because you're essentially the person they're looking for. So it could be that you entered into essay competitions, it could be that you were within a debate society, it could be that you did moots. So moots are online courses that you can take, anyone can do them, and you can find loads of free ones online. So it could be that you did moots and online courses which show that you have great time management skills. It also shows that you are capable of doing outside research for yourself. Did you do work experience at a hospital or a GP practice or a law firm? Like, say how these things correlate to you being able to study this at their university. Another top tip I would recommend on this point is that look at the universities you're looking to apply to and see what skills they require for the course that you're looking to study. And by doing this, you can look at those skills and put them in your personal statement through the examples that you're showing. So if a course requires great attention to detail, you can say that you have great attention to detail through having a job or a job that you do that requires that. Just pick an example that shows that you do have great attention to detail. If they require teamwork, say you played a sport, like use the examples that you have in your life, relate them to what your university is looking for. Next, when it comes to paragraph, you need to then do a small paragraph on your extracurricular activities. So fair enough, you're mentioning your extracurricular activities, but I'd say the majority of your personal statement should talk about extracurricular you've done in relation to what you're looking to study. So don't mention things like you play hockey, like, or you do netball. Like, mention that as a mini paragraph at the bottom, but use all the extracurriculars that are educational and academic in relation to the course you're looking to study to take up a large chunk of your personal statement. So in my personal statement, I left a little bit at the bottom, just including all the things I did. So I spoke about how I was deputy head of house at my school. I also spoke about how I played hockey for my school. I also spoke about how I was part of different societies. I also completed my Gold Duke of Edinburgh award. Like, just have this in a mini paragraph at the bottom, just so they know that you are academic and you can do all these things, but you also have all these different elements to you and yourself that you can bring to their university. So state your achievements in this paragraph and also look at 3 things that you can include. So on your piece of paper, I want you to write down 3 things that you can say, oh, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, that isn't related to your chosen topic to study at university. Now that you've done, we're going to do the final closing part. State what you look forward to doing in the future. This could be 1 to 2 lines. I think I said I am excited to pursue my education further. I'll leave it here once again what I did say, but state where you want to take yourself in the future. Where do you want your career to go? And write that as a bullet point now on that piece of paper. And now that you've done that, looking at your page, you should have an overview of like your story and everything that you can put in your personal statement. So this is from why you want to study it, what made you want to study it. You have all these things on this sheet of paper now. You have all your extracurricular activities that you've done, and you also have your future, your closing of your personal statement. Now that you've got all these different bullet points and ideas down, it's time to formulate this into one big thing. As I said, create a storyline, create a story that you want to tell them about yourself. It can be personal, it can be educational. You then start writing it out and create it, form it into sentences essentially. So when it comes to me, I did like 4 drafts, I think. And another thing I'd recommend is give it to people to read, but I mean people who have something to offer you. Don't just give it to your friend to read. There's no reason to be giving it to them. Give it to your teacher, give it to, I don't know, someone at the university you want to study or doing the course you want to to study, give it to them to read and ask for helpful and improving changes that you can make to it. So I would give it to people, but not too many people. I think I gave it to my friend Lana, I gave it to my dad, and I also gave it to 2 teachers at my school, and that was it. So I would give it to one person, they'd tell me what they think, I'd come back and improve it. So you're constantly working on it. You cannot make your personal statement once. It's something that is progress over time, which is why I'd recommend you start in the summer of year 13, like working towards that. So here we are. But no, yeah, I've taken you through the draft of it. All you have to do is just put the words together, and everything you've got on that page is what you should put within your personal statement. So that has essentially been it. If you do have any further questions, make sure to comment them down below and I'd be happy to answer them. If you also do have any personal statements that you'd want me to read, I would be more than happy to. I have done that for subscribers before, so definitely like send them to me or DM me on Instagram and I'd be happy to do that for you. Let me know what you're looking to study at university. I would love to know. And if you are looking to apply to LSE, feel free to message me. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. I hope it's been helpful. Once again, if you do have any more questions, comment them down below. But for now, it's been your girl Praise, and I will see you next week with another video. Go, shorty. It's your birthday.